Welcome to Winning Wall Street's Money. Please take this moment now with helping me. Click here, subscribe. Next, click this bell. Next, ensure to click all. This helps you receive a notification when I posted my next videos. Next, click this thumbs up button after every time you watch my video. This pushes it up in the engagement ratings and means it will be suggested to more people, therefore is likely to get more views to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate that. I also have a Patreon page. Click show more. Scroll down. This link here, my Patreon, click on it. Select the membership. With this membership, you'll get access to all this information. Very good content. Wednesday, April 14th, 3:08 p.m. The stock market's still open till 4 p.m. New York time. Discussing stock IPOs here. What's a stock IPO? Is when a company decides to make their company public, listed on a stock exchange. And in the United States, the biggest stock exchange is the New York Stock Exchange, which is owned by another big company called ICE, International Exchange. And then there's the NASDAQ Stock Exchange. So those are the two big stock exchanges. Some of the differences between them, well, the New York Stock Exchange is a physical location where there's a specialist that maintains individual stocks, maybe manages one or manages a few. Where in the NASDAQ, you can have unlimited number of market makers, they're called market makers, that work on the individual stocks. So I'll give you an example. You might have Microsoft, there might be 200 market makers or 70 market makers buying and selling. Where again, on the New York Stock Exchange, there will be a specialist that's going to fill the orders. Also, the New York Stock Exchange, since it's older and bigger, it's also has higher ethics standards to be listed on those exchanges, where the NASDAQ has high standards too, but lower than New York Stock Exchange. And then there's other exchanges, such as OTC, over the counter, but that's not even a real exchange. In saying exchange where you could easily trade, they're between broker and dealers. You make a phone call and then you get a quote, and then you could sell it between one party and the other party. Those are just companies that want to be listed as a stock, but they don't meet the requirements, maybe monetary value or ethics or morals, or again, they don't want to pay fees to maybe be listed on these big exchanges I mentioned. Okay, so the stock that went IPO today, Coinbase, stock symbol is Charlie Oscar India November. So typically when you see stock symbols 4 letters or more, typically they're listed on the stock exchange called the NASDAQ Stock Exchange again. When they're 3 letters or less, they're typically on the New York Stock Exchange. So Verizon, VZ is on the New York Stock Exchange. IBM is on the New York Stock Exchange. Microsoft, MSFT, is on the NASDAQ. When it's got a fifth letter, that is an F, that typically means that company, that stock is from a foreign country. Got it? Information overload, but you know a lot more than most people do. So we see Coinbase on the left grid is a 15-minute time frame, and the right is a daily for a 3-year duration. But since, again, it just opened today, it's not done yet. So since the high of the day, this stock has declined. We're going to look at some stocks that went IPO this year, 2021 IPO. I'll say the stock symbols as well. We can find out if you heard of it. So here's the first one: Alpha Foxtrot Romeo Mike, a firm holding. It's a technology company. Yep. So here we are intraday, but we're going to look at the daily for a 3-year period. So for the 3 years, which is when IPO this year at IPO back in January, and we're lower, we're off the high. That's not leadership. Definitely not leadership. Here's another one, Bumblebee. Have you ever heard of that company? Yep. It did an IPO this year too. And guess what? It's not at its all-time high anymore. It's an app. It's a technology company for matchmaking, dating, But again, here's the high at the beginning of the year when it first went IPO, and here we are now, lower. It's not leadership. Another one, Charlie Hotel Papa Tango, ChargePoint. It went IPO last year. Since then, it had the high of last year, and now we're down here. Not leadership, much lower. Another one, Charlie Lima Oscar Victor, Clove Health. IPO last year, had the high of this year, and now we're even lower than the IPO. That's not leadership. Already spoke about Coin. Here's another one, Delta Sierra Papa. IPO this year, it had a run up for a few days and a hard sell off. And we're almost near the lows again from the IPO. That's not leadership. Hims and Hers, HIMS. IPO last year. Look at the high this year, and we're almost near record lows for the year. Not leadership. MILE. IPO last year, and now we're lower than even the IPO. Not leadership. Not a good deal. Another one, Oscar Sierra Charlie Romeo. IPO. Then it sold off for that week, did a reverse, made a new high, consolidation, and near record lows right now. Not leadership. What do you notice? A lot of these IPOs, a lot of them were either trading below their IPOs or certainly below their highs. Here's another one, Papa Lima Tango Kilo. IPO this year, and we're below the highs of this year, near the lows. Papa Oscar Sierra Hotel. First day of the IPO was the all-time high, and since then it's declined. Not good. Romeo Alpha Alpha Sierra, huge trading range that first day on the IPO, and since then sold off, lower low, less interest in it. Here is another IPO recently, Romeo Bravo Lima X-Ray, software company that makes games. The IPO day ran up for a few days, much higher now. Their leadership, if you like that, it's a leadership trade idea there. It's better than the other ones. Today's forming inside candle, and look at today, we're near the record low. So if you think that's a bargain, you might consider buying it here. It's outperforming some of the other ones. There's another one, Romeo Lima X-Ray, IPO this year and way below it, losing interest in it. Sierra Hotel Lima Sierra, nice from the IPO, it ran up, did a consolidation, went even higher, and since then it's sold off, lower lows, back in consolidation, no longer leadership. X-Ray Mike, also from the IPO, had a run up, and then since then decline, and never in their record lows. That's not good. Let's go take a look at the IPOs from last year. Some big names. Airbnb, from the IPO of last year, sold off shamefully, did a reverse and sold off again. From this year, now this year, it made new highs. It's in a consolidation, much better than many of the other ones you saw. But again, it's near the midpoint from the high and low of this year. The low this year, the high this year. Opportunity if you're bullish. DoorDash also made an IPO last year, made an all-time high this year, and now we're almost below again the lows from the IPO. Well, we are below the lows of the IPO and almost near the lows of this year. That's not good. Golf Delta Romeo X-Ray, struggling, way off its highs of this year, getting closer to the record lows, and certainly below the IPO dates. Not good. Lima India, from last year, way off its highs, it's struggling. Another IPO, Rocket Company, deals mortgages owned by a bigger parent company. So since the IPO of last year, it traded higher and still above the IPO date, but way off its highs, struggling, and continuing making declines, lower lows. If you ever heard of this company, Snowflake? From the IPO date here, huge trading range, and a nice run up into the highs last year, and never saw them again this year. What happened was this year, it made a lower low below the IPO. Not good leadership, it's struggling. And uniform, symbol U. Huge run up the IPO. And then at the end of this year, end of last year, sold off. And since then, making lower lows. It's struggling. Whiskey Mike Goff, interesting. Wow. Huge consolidation, made a lower low last year. And then big reverse. Beginning this year, sold off. Consolidation, sold off. So a lot of volatility, but it's still not leadership. And X-ray Papa, Echo, Victor, way off its highs. It's struggling. Big time, it's struggling. So the takeaway is, I notice, hopefully you notice, most of these are failure to be at top of their game. Where we look at the NASDAQ 100, the NASDAQ 100 is at the high of the year. Or just take this into 1 year basis or 2 years. So buying this stock ETF, where the symbol for the stock ETF is Sierra Papa Yankee, which is the S&P 500 stock ETF, you've been better off buying this at the beginning of this year or anytime last year. It's outperforming most of those IPOs I'm showing you. If you did the NASDAQ 100, this is the cash symbol, November Delta Golf, November Delta X-ray, sorry. All-time highs, you'd be outperforming. And the stock ETF, because a lot of those IPOs were technology. So a lot of them would be in the NASDAQ 100, where you see the NASDAQ 100. It's at an all-time high right now, all-time high. Look at that. And what did we say Airbnb was? It's not its all-time high. You've been better off the QQQ. Same with DoorDash, not an all-time high. So takeaway was, if you were buying the stock, you've been better off putting your capital into the NASDAQ 100 stock ETF. QQQ, this is leadership. And when we just take back some older IPOs, Uber, where is it trading now? Look at Uber. It's gunning higher. So it's outperforming many of the other stock IPOs. And what about Lyft? Remember that one? Nice run up. So Uber and Lyft. Uber looking being the better one. Yep, is outstanding. So this is Lyft. But just showed you Uber was even performing better. So the takeaway again is better off the equity indexes. And what are some of the equity indexes performing? Before we end here, the S&P 500 all-time high. Look at that. NASDAQ is off its all-time high. So what I'm saying is the S&P 500 made an all-time high today. The NASDAQ did not. That was yesterday. The Dow Jones made an all-time high. Russell 2000 is way off its all-time high. The Dow Transports in consolidation and Dow Utilities trending. So there's many opportunities to make money in better stocks than some of the IPOs that have been listed today, this year, last year, and the prior year. Thank you, as always, for spending just a little bit of your time with me. Let me know what you thought about this video, and please let me know what you want to see next. If you got value from this video, if this was helpful, then please consider sharing a small monetary donation to my channel by going below and clicking on my PayPal link. You can leave a small tip. If you don't want to share financial support, no problem. Just click the like and subscribe.